Hello and welcome back to Tabletop Dubshot, a live-action D&D game with all baristas. I am Renee, your dungeon master, and with me is Bela,
Wow.
PE,
Buka.
and Jordan.
Fierce.
Last we left off, our friends have fully infiltrated at least the dinner leading into the Conclave of the Nine, as they have fully decided to at least let the Archforge and the Foremarshal know what is going on as far as what they believe is happening with the Children of Mercy, Crystal Talons, the Pyre, as multiple groups seem to be some a little bit more concrete information, some of it a little bit more. What are we doing?
Nothing.
Nobody
We're waiting
knows,
for you to-
brother. We're waiting for the
This
recap.
is an audio punch.
So as PE and Bela fully try to derail this, but they are finally able to catch the Archforge and the Foremarshal outside and fill them in on all the information that they have thus far, as well as letting them know that they found Kubosh, who seems to be the leader of the Children of Mercy and possibly a member of the Crystal Talons, in a cave that's somewhat near to the actual Lenneth Academy itself. The Foremarshal said that they would send a group out, and our group finally left and went to bed. Early the next morning, there was knocking at the door, and it was the Foremarshal himself that let everybody know that the cave, well, not actually fully empty, there's proof that there was people in there, has been vacated. But he also let all our friends know that he believes that the Archforge may be the actual target when it comes to this, specifically as our friends have been informed that the Children of Mercy are looking for the Golden Sash. And that is where we are now. So, with that, he is there with you guys at this point. The room itself is starting to light up a little bit as it's becoming full morning. This is the reason why I believe the Archforge may be the target in all of this. And he starts to recount a story of a djinn. This happened near the end of the Ember Century. This is generations back, but our lands were under siege, but not by an army, but by the cold. No crops. It was a harsh, harsh winter, and no fires that would catch, and constant storms, constant wind. Children froze besides hearths, too proud to admit that they'd gone out. Lady Isa Karzari was the head of the house then. She was young, probably 17 winters old. No mage blood in her veins, no sword to her name, just a stubbornness that I think the Archforges tend to have something in common in that. But one night in the dead of deep frost, she left the keep without telling anybody. She just took a lantern and then walked into the Ashen Valley and looks over at Buka, and you heard part of the story of how the Ashen Valley came to be, or it's how it's reported anyways. But she went out not looking for power, but she went looking for help for her people. Anything that might keep her people from dying in their sleep. They say she walked until she couldn't anymore, and the lantern flickered out, and she just sat down in the ashes of the small fire that she had made, and the stories say that she just wept, not loud, not wailing, just quiet tears. And that's when he came, a shimmer in the dark, and this figure didn't speak at first, and he just stood there, bare feet in the snow, eyes like a heart of a forge. And the story goes that she looked up to him and said, "I have nothing to offer you but my trust." And it said that was the key. Not a name, not a price, just trust. And this figure knelt, removed the sash from around his waist, a long golden cloth etched with some symbols that only the gods know. He placed it on her shoulders, and that was the pact. And at that point, he was bound to her, to the then Archforge of House Karzari. And then the golden sash became the mark. It wasn't of ownership, not of control. And I think in those times, I don't even think she knew that it was a djinn, but it was a vow. Ever since then, the Emberveil Djinn wears it, and it's lasted us for generations. He doesn't serve because he must. He serves because some girl in the snow asked for help. Most spirits, if you believe it, are bind themselves to a place, typically a ruin, maybe a weapon, a grave. But the Emberveil, he he did it to the house. When Lady Isa made this pact, the Jinn helped the people of this land. There was finally fires, a respite from the cold. To maybe some of our enemies, the gold wrapped doom, but to us, he was just the Emberveil. And when Lady Isa finally passed from old age, the question hung in the air of would the Jinn disappear now that the oath had been fulfilled? But he didn't. At the funeral pyre, he stood there for 3 nights. And then on the dawn of the 4th, he took the sash. Hers now, it's folded neatly on the stone, and passed it to her son, and laid it on the young lord's lap. And then the sash was returned. A promise from Jinn to the Archforge, from the Archforge to the Jinn. He's stood now for 9 generations. He taught Lady Syrah to use the fires. He taught Lord Maiden how to wield the blade. But stories say that his loyalty is not blind. There was a cousin once, Raylan or Rylan, something, who tried to claim the title by blood alone. No honor, no heart. And every time that the sash has been handed from Jinn to the Archforge, the sash will alight as a promise, and then it is relit when it's returned to the Jinn. But when Raylan took it, it was just an empty sash. It was just cold. And every time a new Archforge takes the seat, the ritual continues. The golden sash is handed to the Archforge. It's handed to the Archforge, and it lights in fire, and the Archforge then returns it, just like a vow, like a promise. It's not a secret that we tell outsiders outside of the house, but if I was a betting man, I would say that that's probably what the Children of Mercy are after.
Wow. So they're after the Jinn who is tied to the golden sash?
He wields it. It's part of his garments.
Do we think he can be taken from the Archforge?
The Jinn will appear. There's been times in the past when obviously the Archforge has his guards and I as the Foremarshal, but there are times when obviously a danger is very prevalent, and the Archforge's life is in danger, and it seems almost like they're connected. The Archforge and the Emberveil are connected in some way, and whenever the Emberveil feels that there is a danger towards the Archforge, he does appear. But I mean, a Jinn is a powerful being, but a Jinn is not a god.
Right. I think if knowing all the stories and the history, if you were to try to steal the golden sash and the Jinn, which seems to be the end game, how is that even possible? It sounds like the Jinn has to give his permission.
I don't know, but I mean that's the only thing I can think about.
Okay. So in order for the Jinn to appear, the Archforge himself must be placed in great danger. At least that's what it sounds like.
Yes.
It sounds like that's what they're trying to do.
So easy, right? Like avoid great danger.
Yeah. I mean that's my entire job. So
Right. Okay.
But you're here and he's there.
he's with some other men right now, but
I I feel like they may be, if you're right, and this is actually what they're after, then they're, I guess, in a way, gonna stage great danger because it's not the Archforge that they're actually after.
But he's a vessel to get to the Jinn.
Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, lots of unpredictability and even trying to.
I mean,
I don't.
how
leave a position.
unpredictable is this group though? They cause chaos and mass destruction. They're mercenaries. They're going to cause danger.
I guess my question is, do we think this is going to happen at the conclave or afterwards? Because it feels like he might be completely safe right now, unless other houses are in on it, and you see Buka start to spiral again. What if there's
Okay.
if they all
Okay.
just kind of turned against him? What it could happen. It could happen at the conclave,
Get
right?
the porcelain mask person.
Right.
They
Freaks me
right.
out. It literally gives me goosebumps, right?
We can't see that past your fur.
Right. Well, I took a bath, so it's like my hair stands up now. It didn't before.
Proud of you.
Thanks. So,
I mean, okay, so Foremarshal, I guess this is the question for you. Obviously, coming here, traveling, would you say is probably when the Archforge is most vulnerable?
it's typically when we're traveling. Just
And
really
coming here, nobody would have known necessarily where your travel would have started, what path you would have taken.
No, we've made sure we took great care to keep a secret. There was a couple different pathways, and
Right.
we had a
Right.
few fake little,
Decoys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess going off of that, my thought, they know that he's here, and it's maybe their only chance not to, attack him while he's here, because this is just from what we saw and what we know of Kubash, not a group that could take on all the protectors.
Right.
But on everybody's way out, it's their almost a perfect opportunity to follow you from a starting point that they know you are coming from.
Right.
To then use the chance at travel, which is why maybe they didn't actually do anything yesterday and why they're not in the cave anymore.
I think they might be staging something. So
Right.
I mean, the reality is after this conclave, the Archforge and I will return to the keep. So
okay, you mentioned having decoys. What if we're confident that he's going to be safe here at the conclave? What if we sent a decoy ahead when we're leaving?
none of you look like the Archforge or myself. So our decoys are designed to look similar in appearance to the Archforge and myself.
Do you have plans of decoys when we leave or when you leave? I apologize.
Correct.
So I guess I think what Book is saying is when you have a decoy leave, the Archforge would not. Not that he would take a separate path, but he just would not leave yet.
Correct.
And we
Try
go
to lure them out,
the
essentially.
decoys, and we fight.
I mean, ideally, we wouldn't have to fight at all.
Oh, right.
I mean, that's my goal. My purpose as the Foremarshal is to avoid a fight whenever.
Great.
Also,
Okay.
my job is to end it if it starts.
Okay. So we are decoy. We join the decoy party just in case a fight breaks out, right?
I mean, I think it'll be more suspicious to be seen with other travelers. If we've been followed and if there are scouts, then they would know who came in and who would be leaving.
Okay.
I can try something I've never really tried before. I can disguise myself, but it's not something I use often.
Do you wield that kind of magic?
Mm-hmm. But we would need someone to look like one of you too.
I mean, more decoys just increases our chances of safety and success. But I also am not going to ask you all to possibly risk your lives. So I think the best thing we could do is hopefully we have some scouts out in the area. The majority of our contacts are still back at the academy, but if we can minimize, maybe lots of things. But I must be heading back soon. I've already been away from the Archforge for too long.
Right.
Yeah, you're not asking, but I would say I think I speak for the group that we are offering as this group, the same group as, which I don't know if we ever mentioned, was also the group that attacked Fell.
Understood. And at this point, Thel speaks up and just says, "Yeah, they're a bunch of sons of bitches." But looks over Val and just says, "But I also don't want you getting involved if you don't have to." And he stands up at this point and just says, I'm back at 100%.
Glad to see it.
Is he really back at 100%? Can I?
Go ahead and make an insight
He
check.
had a long rest.
Right.
I feel like he probably is. Yesterday,
He's at 99.99%.
That is a natural 20 insight, 23.
He looks to be at full HP.
Come on.
What I'll probably end up doing, and looks over at Val, is like, we could probably maybe do some scouting and see if we can maybe keep up with some of the tracks if you guys lost them in the woods.
Is Thel the same height or like the same frame as the Archforge?
Not as wide as the Archforge is, but I mean, if you want to read the spell.
So, disguise self. You make yourself, including your clothing, armor, weapons, and other belongings on your person, look different until the spell ends, until you use your action to dismiss it. Sorry. You can seem 1 foot shorter or taller and can appear thin, fat, or in between. You can't change your body type, so you must adopt a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs. Otherwise, the extent of the illusion is up to you.
I mean, they're close to the same height. They're not like that far.
My thinking was that I would be head of house and then he could be my protector, but
Can you cast it on 2 people?
no, I can just on me. We
Well,
can
that
find armor.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna probably, I mean, if we can only do it on 1, then I don't, the plan will work, unfortunately.
Whose body type would look closest to the Archforge then?
Out of this group,
Buka bulks up a little bit and just puts his shoulders up.
I mean,
I don't.
as he's looking at like Pierce, Buka, and Thel, height wise, I think the Archforge is only a little bit taller than all of you. And then looks at Thel, is like, I mean, you might be closer to the same height.
Perfect. We only need 2 of us, one of us to look similar in armor, and then the other one to.
Well, I think his point is their decoys are like looking.
We can be great value decoys.
I worry that a mediocre similarity in appearance is more of a warning to any enemies that might be out there.
Fine.
But I do appreciate the suggestion, and I don't think that necessarily we can't not do something with that. But I think in the meantime, either way, it's still another 2 days for the conclave. So
Okay.
Like
How-
me and Buka might be spending most of our time here, but it sounds like Val and Thel will do more of the tracking because they know the area.
I will probably be back later this evening, if anything. But I think with that, I will take my leave. So
One last question before you leave, just to make sure we talk about all the options. How confident are we that nothing's going to happen during the conclave?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I look at Pierce. I think maybe while Val and Thel are searching the forest, we can make ourselves available to support conclave security. I look back at the Foremarshal. Is that something we can do?
Protectors only. None of
Okay.
you would be allowed in the vicinity of any of the heads of the house.
Okay. To the watchtower it is.
Cool. Val, would you like to go with them, or would you like to go with Val and see if you can find any of the tracks?
Let's go with Thel.
Let's do it. And then he slides a very similar, just a little bit. I mean, he is such a taller man, just a larger bow, but kind of same build as yours, same quiver, same type of arrows, puts on his boots. And then at that point, the Foremarshal while this is happening, gives you all like a curt nod and then makes his way back to the academy. But Book and Pierce, would you guys head back in that same time?
Right.
Yeah.
You guys make your way there. At this point, Fel finishes tightening his boots, looks at you, Val, and just says, what are you thinking?
I mean, I think we can start at the cave and then see if we can see any tracks from there.
Let's go. Do you have all your stuff?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Always.
And you guys make your way. And at this point, obviously, you've been there before, so you're able to find the cave easily. Do you make your way in? Is there anything that you guys do in particular? As you guys approach, you don't see anybody. The cart is gone. Also, at this point, there was outside.
I would like to go inside the cave and see what was left that was mentioned before.
Yeah. Also, as you guys are, or as you and Thel are making your way in, a small mound of bodies that had been there before, the one that had a lot of their stuff taken, is gone. Also, no traces of any of the bodies or any of the stuff. As you make your way into the cave, go ahead and give me a perception check. Perception or investigation.
One was better than the other. Perception. What do I perceive? A 19 plus 5 is 24.
Ooh, let's go. Great roll. As you walk into this cave, at this point, any fires that might have been in there have been fully out. You can tell they've been out for a day at this point. It's been sometime in the last day or so. Probably when you guys were last there is when the fires were last lit. But you could tell that there are some torches were put into crevices and cracks in the sides of the cave. So you can tell where like the scorch marks are. And as you start making your way inside, you do find a couple of different things. So one of the first things that you find tucked away in a corner are some shoddily made bedding. You could tell just some like very thin blankets have been laid out at some point, and the bedding that was given for Pierce and for Buka when you were in the cabin at least had some layers. There's a couple different blankets, maybe like a comforter style thing. This one is literally just designed to keep you physically off of the ground and not much beyond that. But you can tell as you're looking, some of them have been kind of kicked to the side as people were standing up or walking past it. But as you're counting the number of different blankets, and they're all kept together, they're all kept close to the actual wall itself. But as you're looking, you're counting the actual blankets and the number of blankets. There's about 20 to 25 blankets. There's like a decent amount. You also know that Thel killed a handful of people. And so you don't know, obviously, which blankets were picked up or anything like that. But you're counting about 20, 25 blankets that are used for bedding. Deeper into the cave, as you walk in, the actual entrance itself, there's not a whole lot. Any clothes, anything like that seem to have been taken with whoever was there. But as you get to further back in the cave, you find a table. It seems to be not incredibly fancy or well made, but it just seems like a thick wood table with 3 chairs placed around it. And as you are looking at it, there is, with 20 something check,
24.
24 check, there is an area of the wood, or there's a couple different areas of the wood that you notice nicks in the actual wood. Like there's like small holes there. And as you're investigating, it looks like dagger or like a knife of some kind was used and like put in there. And at first you're looking at it and you're like, oh, like someone just put a knife there or is making a statement or something like that. But as you're looking at the positioning for the 4 like nicks in the wood, you realize that they're geometrically placed almost. And then as you're starting to look at the actual size of the table and where the nicks in the wood are, you realize that some kind of paper or parchment was placed there at some point that they were looking at. And so you're unsure what would have been there, but it seems like that they were looking at something. And so you're unsure of what it could be. Beyond that, close to the actual table, you're looking at the ground itself and you notice a scorch mark. It's a little different than the scorching that you see on the walls from the fire. This one looks perfectly circular. Like as you're looking at it, and the soot even looks a little bit different. Like it doesn't look like the whatever caused it to be there wasn't burning as much. But as you're looking at it, it's just a perfect circle. And you're kind of looking around, and everything else seems to have been taken away. The only thing you do find is half of like a sheet of paper that seems to have been lost underneath underneath one of the chairs. It seems like at some point when someone moved, it might have fallen down there. But it's like the chair's not on it, but it seems like the paper just wrapped itself around one of the legs of the chair. And then all you see is the number 6, and then cat, and then it's cut off, and then underneath it, because it seems to have been torn like from top to bottom, almost like hot dog style. And as you're looking at it, it says 6 cat, and then it just says 25, and then it seems to be whatever's torn away, and then just the letter C. But that's all you find in the cave.
Fel, looking at this piece of paper,
Yeah.
did you, when you were still with them, did you guys use code or anything?
No.
No?
No.
What do you,
Code for what? Go burn a building?
yes. I
No.
don't know.
No, you just go and burn the. No, that doesn't. No, we didn't. To answer your question, no, we didn't.
Thank you so much. Okay. Holding up the paper, would there be any marks or anything that would line up with the indents on the table?
No. As you're looking at it, this one, seems to be like an actual torn sheet of paper. But as you're looking at it, whatever was on the table seems to be a lot. But I mean, Thel didn't roll the investigate or the check, the as high of a check as you did.
Ah, I see. Okay. So what I'm thinking is that these scorch marks were indents to when they were discussing their plans, sort of a map type thing. And I'm thinking this mark would be where we are now. Would any of these in whatever direction match up to anything that they could hide in? You know this land better than I have.
Well, as he's looking at that, he's like, I mean, the scorch marks on the ground are from teleportation.
We heard that then.
Yes. But as he's looking at it, he's like, I mean, if I'm looking at a map, it's probably the next area that we're going to attack. So
Right. So
maybe let's go see if we can find where they went from here.
yeah, we need to do it quickly.
As you guys are going, go ahead and give me a survival check. So with that, because you are, and you've also been in these woods before, go ahead and roll with advantage.
Why do you know more about me than I know me? Oh, so I got a 19.
Beautiful.
Plus a survival,
Ooh.
so there'd be a 22.
Beautiful. There's like a point where some of them are just obvious. Like as you are tracking the actual like movement of like this group that has vacated the cave, like because the Foremarshal had already shared with you that they had been able to track them for a little bit until they had lost them. And there's like a point where you could tell there's just like an area of the land where like the actual bramble and the grass thickens a little bit. And you just like anybody would naturally just start to lose the actual like footprints that would lead to that point. But because you are adept at this area and in this environment, you notice like the small cracks in like branches and bramble, small things where like areas where like moss is stepped on, it wouldn't leave like a very indented footprint, but it's enough of a like a indentation that you know it's not natural, and you're like, oh, they went this way. And you continue to track it, and there's like a point where you realize that you are tracking a group of about 16 people. And they seem to be just like with the weight of like it, not incredibly well armored. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of weight. And there's a point where you're tracking them, and you're tracking them for a while. You're genuinely start tracking them for about an hour or so. And there's like a point where it's almost like other footsteps coincide, but there's another 4 sets of footprints that at some point angle in from some other direction unknown to you. It seems deeper into the forest than you've explored so far, but they seem to be wheel marks that they are pulling something or dragging. But it's not horse drawn or anything. Like you could tell it's all like boot prints, but you do notice 6 of these, I guess 12 total, but like 6 combined like wheel marks that are being pulled. And then they continue deeper into the forest. But there is like a part where this is happening, because I mean, for a long time you were just like in thicker like part of the woods. Whatever it is that they're pulling, you could tell is just not meant to be in the woods. Like whatever like wheel like cart or whatever it is that they're pulling along. Like there's areas where like they're clearly just going over roots. Like it's just off road, but it's not 4x4. Like it's not designed for this at all.
Honda Civic could never.
Your Honda Civic could never. But the tracks do seem to continue on, but more deeper into like the. Do you follow?
Yes.
You follow deeper into the woods. With that, we'll go back to Pierce and Buka.
We are back asleep again because
You lied.
lied.
You make your way to. Did you guys go to the bell tower?
That was the plan. I follow, or I'm walking with Pearson. So, do you think that maybe did you get a good vantage point from where you guys were at?
Yeah, I mean, the spot we were in had a good view of the courtyard. The door that the heads of house were using to go into the war room, and I believe it seemed like we were probably the highest building on campus.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, if you're in the bell tower, you look around it. I mean, there are other buildings that are fairly tall. Some of them being 3 to 4 stories. Some of these older, like academic buildings and the dormitories and things. But the bell tower seems to go up 6 stories up.
Okay. As we're looking down on the war room, does it feel like there's possibly a better spot we could be to then get to the war room quickly if we needed to and still have a good vantage point?
I mean, so I think with that in mind, or that with that question, you either get one or the other. So where you are, you have a really good vantage point, and you're not that far from the war. So like once you make your way down, it's only like running it, you could probably make it within a minute.
Yeah.
But there's not like you either have a vantage point or you're gonna be
close by
in the park. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's still early. Did you happen to grab any breakfast from Thel's place?
Did I grab food?
I feel like Pierce would have walked out with something.
Yeah. And so I just pull out my pack and like hand him like something to eat.
And I think realistically, Thel would have like cured meats somewhere just ready to
So
go.
much of it too.
I found this cured meat and jerky in a floorboard in the kitchen area. Does he know that he can just store things in his cabinets and have chests and stuff? I don't know.
Pierce, you see the one that Buka grabbed, and it's just covered in like dust and lint at this point.
If you're good, I'll
right. Well, this one, you brought food to share, and I wanted to also bring something to share. So I split it in half, and I give him half of my dust-covered meat. And did you know? Like, I heard that this dust it makes it better. That means it's vintage.
It's aged properly.
Right. Don't just look at it. Do you want to?
I take it and I give him a piece of what I have. And with a piece in each hand, I just start eating the piece that I brought.
I mirror, and I also eat the piece that he gave me. I'll try it when you want to try it.
His just tasting infinitely better than yours possibly could. But as you guys are looking up there, do you guys want to stay up here and have a vantage point of it? You're unsure how, like, based off of the calendar that you guys found in the headmaster's office, that it'll start probably in the next hour and a half or so, as far as that. But you already know, especially Buka, that you were inside of the building, and Pierce, obviously you had already been up in the bell tower the night before, that once you're in there, it's its own isolated little pocket as far as the meeting is concerned.
Do we notice any other personnel around campus at all?
The only thing you still have not seen any students at this point, or any faculty, only the guards.
Are there any guards in this building?
In the bell tower?
Yeah.
No.
Great. I would like to snoop.
As you look around the bell tower, I mean, so the actual top of the bell tower itself, it's open, and so the only thing there is just the square to get in there, the ladder down, and then a rope to access the actual bell, because the bell is still a little bit above you.
Right. Okay.
But that's kind of it.
Nice. I look around. I'm like touching all the stones and trying to feel if there's any hidden compartments, because I found 2 in one house so far. So making sure we're covering all our bases.
It cuts back to the floorboard. That one you had to like physically pry it out of the ground.
I wasn't able to put it back, but that's sometimes how doors work, right?
But you don't find anything.
Okay. Well, so Pierce, any relationship news? Any
What do you mean?
any developments in the in the category of love?
No.
Okay.
He pesters you for the next hour and a half. There is a point in that next hour or so where also we'll question, because you guys are aware of the scheduled time that the actual conclave should be starting. Obviously, because of the vantage point from the ground up, if you guys literally take a step back or if you duck, you're out of the vantage point of the people on the ground. But if you guys are looking around, you can also be seen. You knowing kind of the time frame of when it's going to start, do you guys maintain yourselves visible?
Are we able to peekaboo?
A little bit. Your perception checks will be done with disadvantage.
I feel like up until it's supposed to start, I'm not really trying to stay hidden. Just like taking note of what I see, guards like patterns. I mean, anybody else that I see on campus, just sounds like it's probably only going to be guards walking around.
Yeah. And then in that, I think in that hour and a half, as you at this point, you've almost clocked it to a T, where again, it's obviously it's not at exactly the 10-minute mark, but typically around 10 or 12 minutes. Similarly to the night before, the guards will pass by. And so like almost like clockwork, you're almost able to look down and there's like a point when they're passing by the bell tower
Is it
itself.
the same two, or
No.
is it like multiple groups of two?
It's multiple groups of 2. And then because it seemed the night before that there was 4 different groups of 2 that you were seeing. As you're keeping an eye out, the one thing that I will say, you do notice a lot more movement as far as like just the physical quantity of guards that are on campus right now.
So it's like the same pattern that I noticed the night before, but there's also like another patrol route.
Like there's one that as you're looking towards like on the other end of like the campus, that they're not necessarily walking in front of the bell tower, but they have like their own route. But it does seem that the number of guards has increased.
I think I've like taken it of essentially at this point, I know what the routes are, how many different groups are in each route, how long it takes for them to like cycle. Once it gets closer to when heads of house are going to be entering, probably stay completely hidden.
Does Pierce notice the same 2 guards from last night that were out of step?
No, it seems like at this point in time, like there's like fresh guards that have come.
Daytime crew.
Yeah, and also at this point, it's been probably 12 hours or coming up on 12 hours since that last round from the night before. So I think just at this point, it just seems like fresh guards. But it just seems like all of the guards everywhere have been replaced at some point. And you wait for like an hour and a half, and get to a point where you finally start to see a small variation in the guards moving around, as the heads of the house and the protectors seem to be coming from different parts of campus. It seems like they're all staying on campus, but different buildings. Some of them, you honestly at that point, you guys didn't really investigate where people were staying. But they all start to make their way to the war room. As you guys are peeking out, go ahead and give me perception checks, and go ahead and do it with disadvantage.
I already can't perceive.
Himbo.
Yeah, it's not going to be a very good one.
I got 10.
10?
Nice. I also 10 on the die. 14.
14. With a 14, it's kind of hard to gauge because you are prioritizing stealth over the obviously, like, yeah, the observation part of it. The one thing that you, and I think part of it too, is after seeing them at during the dinner, the porcelain mask protector, I think it is someone that they just creep you out a little bit. And so you pick them up right away as House Valdali makes their way in. I'm gonna have you guys do stealth checks for me, as you do catch them looking at the bell tower. You guys can't do this with advantage though,
Come on.
just because of your guys' angle.
That makes sense.
First roll.
21.
Nice.
21.
23.
Cool.
23.
Cool. Hell yeah. No, you guys feel like you're hidden, but there is like a point where what the scene looks like is as they look up, you guys are able to duck out of the way just in time, and their eyes behind the mask keep looking up. And then I think some part of you guys wait enough time and you look back up and you see them still walking. Now at this point directly below you as they are making their way to the war room. And I think the one thing you guys notice, even with your lower rolls, is they seem to, because the mask, it has like a cloak over it. The you guys didn't really notice it or weren't paying attention to it. The hood is up like it's like a big hairdo or something that's keeping
Fluffy.
a little bit, yeah. But I think you kind of noticed that as well. But you notice them, and then the rest of them walk in. But there's like this silence that fills, as at this point, even some of the heads of household that were speaking and more friendly before, not that there's tension, but there's a little bit more of like a somberness in the air. There's not really much conversation being had that you guys can see.
Are you sure that you didn't want to pursue anything with Catriona? I mean, I thought I saw her and you like walking together when we were at that town, and I just want to say that I think you guys are cute together,
I mean, I guess we spent time together, but we all spent time together.
Right. I guess what I'm asking is, of all the time that was spent together, which time was the most well spent? And I nestle my chin on my fist as I watch Pierce's eyes insightfully.
How long do you guys think you would keep this conversation / stay in the ball tower for? Just for chronological purposes.
Right. Chronological reasons. As soon as I think for me, logically, as soon as we know that everybody's made it into the war room, would it make more sense to try to get closer, or do we want to keep watching from the outside?
I will say again, because you guys were both in the proximity and one was on the tower, and then with Buka being in the building, proximity to the actual building, you don't think will necessarily like you won't be able to see inside.
Right.
So,
I think it's more so like earshot versus visual. I hand that off to Pierce.
I just don't know from any other viewpoint and or just like for us to situate ourselves. One, the guards are still patrolling and we're not necessarily supposed to be here. So
right.
We can't be in their paths.
I will say, I'm not necessarily putting my stamp of approval on impersonating guards, but I have in a past life successfully done so, right? And I'm just going to go ahead, chuck a rock out there and guess you know what their patterns are.
I do. I also think that we should have some level of trusting the Foremarshal because he trusted us.
Right. I think I do trust the Foremarshal.
And he doesn't want us to get in anybody's way.
I don't trust anybody else.
As you say that, go ahead and give me a perception check. And then from your vantage point, go ahead and do it with advantage.
14.
What did Pierce get?
19.
You notice from at this point, you can see the majority of it, at least from the angle that you're at. You can see, most of the campus, realistically. Obviously, a lot of stuff is covered depending on how certain buildings are placed. But you do have good access to a building that you guys were in earlier yesterday when you guys were visited the headmaster's office. There's this massive window, which is where you initially saw one of the protectors through the window.
That's right.
But where you are at a slightly elevated position, you do see a figure walking past the window, and then they like turn into the hallway, which is that long hallway that ends where the headmaster's office is. But you do end up seeing, only because 19's a great roll, or 19's a great check, and you've met her before, you do see Merelda in that office.
With a natural 2024, what is Merelda wearing?
It's kind of hard to gauge. She's not in her school uniform.
Ooh, undercover. We both look at her, and I look back at Pierce. I know what you're thinking. I still think you and Catriona would be a better fit. I don't know. I mean, I'm not super experienced in this field, and Buka's gonna start coming down from the bell tower because obviously we're gonna go check it out.
And I potentially pause him for a second, knowing the patrols, so that we can time it, so that we can get to that building without being seen.
Yeah, and I mean, as you make your way down, when you head downstairs, you're inside the building, so you wouldn't necessarily be in immediate visual of the guards. So then you can kind of stop them once you get to like the final exit out to go and find an in-between spot. But at this point, you have, after being there for an hour and a half, you have generally tracked the guards' movements, and so you're able to find a route that allows you to go unseen. You make your way back in to this faculty building that you guys had been to before. And as you make your way up there, you go upstairs and you find not where Moravar, the professor from earlier, was, not that one, but there's the one opposite of it. So very, very close to the headmaster's office. You notice a door just slightly cracked.
We hear anything or anyone?
You hear some footsteps inside, but no speaking, nothing else.
Do we only hear one set of footsteps?
It does seem like it.
Didn't we see two people or just the one?
No, we only saw
Just Merelda.
Merelda.
Okay. I think I'm going to sneak over closer to the door, and I'm going to give hand signals to Pierce the entire way, pretending that I know the guard signals from when I impersonated a guard. And
Which I was never one, so I wouldn't know what the signals are anyways.
Yeah. Puga doesn't know the difference between military and guard work. He's going to sneak over towards the wall and the door and try to listen in to try to figure out what she's doing in there.
You just hear just some footsteps, but it's also not like she's just walking around, but it does sound like she's almost pacing.
Right.
I was gonna ask, is she like pacing? Is she opening drawers, picking up stuff?
It doesn't sound like she's opening drawers or anything.
Mm-hmm. I like look at Pierce and make eyes and dart back and forth between and make hand signals like back and forth. You, me, go in there, beat her up. Yeah, is that something we should do?
Why are we beating her up?
Because she's not nice.
Right, but we're not supposed to be here anyways.
Right? Is she supposed to be here?
She's at least a student.
You're yelling. Soft voice.
How about what if you knock?
And we run away?
No, I'm thinking you knock. Right. See, because if it's her, she probably won't answer the door. If it's the professor who this room belongs to,
right,
it'll give us a way to confirm whether or not it's her or someone else.
Okay. And I look at the door. It's open, right?
It's like
it's like cracked
just a little bit, right? Yeah.
If I knock, is the door just gonna open?
If you knock hard.
The only way I know how, baby. And I flex at Pierce. Okay. I knock on the door 3 times.
Don't. The door swings open, and you hear from inside the room like a gasp, and just says, "Who is?" Oh, and hello there. You're Valentina's friends, aren't you?
Well. What are you doing in this professor's office?
The office. This is my mother's office.
Your mom's office?
Yes.
She is also a professor.
Yes.
I knew that. That's why I said, what are you doing in the professor's office? Where's the professor?
No, probably in her room.
Does she seem like bothered that we're there, or
Go ahead and make an insight check.
insight?
Mhm.
11.
I got 14.
Looks unbothered.
Looks unbothered.
Mhm.
Right. Well,
What are you doing here?
we saw somebody in a professor's room that shouldn't be, or at least, well, that's what we thought. Pierce's eyesight isn't what it used to be, you know?
I'm not old.
How did
I
you
didn't say you were old.
from what were you keeping tabs on me? Looks over at Puka.
A shyly blush? But you can't tell because
I don't think my mother or the headmaster or my grandmother would really love to hear that you have all been, first of all, stalking me.
Whoa.
Second of all, breaking into the faculty office.
I was here looking out for the well-being of the campus.
And the doors are unlocked. It's not necessarily breaking in. And this door was left open.
And so, either way, you felt it was appropriate to walk into an unknown office. Clearly, you had no clue whose office it was.
We
I mean,
don't know where we are. We lost Val.
I knocked first.
And so, you went down a hallway away from the dormitories to go looking for Val.
Again, I don't even know where the dormitories are. We were there once and didn't even stay there. So,
You didn't?
No.
Where did you stay?
again, don't know the campus, just at one of her friend's house or something.
Friends' houses. Okay. Well, is there any other questions that you have while you're interrogating me?
While Pierce is having this conversation, can I look around the office to try to figure out what type of professor her mom is?
Yeah. Go ahead and make a perception or investigation.
13 perception?
13. As you're looking around, you don't really find much of anything. You do find some placards on the wall, but it seems to be some placards that are listed towards the university. And they are the only thing you kind of catch that maybe it's what they teach is something about, as you taking a glance around, on one of the papers, the only one that's like physically closest to you, on something that says the only thing you can kind of read is diplomacy, like the word diplomacy. But that's about the only thing you garner
Right.
from.
I spark inspiration from reading the word diplomacy. Okay, you caught us. I saw you through the window and I convinced Pierce to accompany me. And I guess I was just intrigued from our last meeting. Can you tell me more about your family? And I like glance a look at Pierce like, if I can do this with her, you better do this with Kat.
Tell you more about my family?
Yeah,
No.
you don't. I mean, I just kind of wanted to know more about you.
Touched.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, this seems like an odd time and place to do it. Also, cornering me into an empty room seems like an odd way to do it. But I mean, Valentina would keep odd friends. But
Buka just nodding the entire time.
so you agree?
I mean, I'm not normal, if that's what you're asking me.
So you agree?
I think so.
So either way, as much as I am loving this conversation, I'm not super thrilled with being stuck alone with both of you, whom, as charming as you might seem, I'm not fully familiarized with yourselves, and currently you're blocking the only exit out of here. So if you could please leave, that would be
Okay.
I don't even respond. I just turn around and start walking out, and I grab Luca to like pull him with me.
As he's pulling me away, we'll talk later then.
yes, hopefully under in a better environment for that.
Yes.
As like you're still kind of facing her, as Pierce grabs you by the back to start pulling you out, immediately, incredibly loud, you hear that it can be heard even, I mean, you guys aren't terribly far, but so loud. And you see like everyone's heads whip to the source of the sound. and we will cut back to the woods where Valentina is. Val, you are tracking this for a while, and again, being familiarized with the environment that you're in, you realize, so the way that the campus is set up is, and it's something that, again, that you've experienced and something that you shared with the rest of the group, is once you get into the deep woods, there is so much danger. There's just creatures and things like that. But part of it too is, part of Bell's job is making sure that there are certain like traps and snares that are set up around the entirety of the woods that are closest to the campus. But the way that it's actually set up just geographically, it's, you have the campus itself, which is fairly large, and then you have like a area around it that is, for the most part, there's like trees and things like that, but for the most part it's fairly open plain, and then everything beyond that is like, that's where the woods would actually start. The only exception really being the path that leads in and out of the main entrance where you guys in the Archforge and the Foremarshal had talked before. But you realize that as you're talking, so just geographically, Thel's cabin is to like the west of where campus is. The cave was a little bit north of where you guys were, but you realize, like, and at this point you've been walking for like an hour and a half with Thel. You realize that you're starting to go, you're still in the deep woods, but you're starting to go and around the perimeter of the actual campus to the point where you're now north of the campus. You're like far north. You're so far away from where Thel's cabin and everything is. And you've been tracking this now for a while. Same number of footsteps, same number of like these tracked wheels. And you finally get to a point where, similarly to where the cave was, you don't see a mound, you don't see a cave, but you do see a small clearing. And as you're looking around, it's not a natural clearing. You realize that this has been, like, trees have been cut down to create a space. As you're pulling up, go ahead and give me a stealth check, and you can do
No.
so with advantage.
We're not gonna take that 3. We will take that. 18 plus 4 is a 22.
Hell yeah. With a 21 stealth check, Thel and you, like, there's a point where he grabs your shoulder a little bit and then just says, get low. And yeah, you guys start to duck a little bit, and you guys are crouched as you start to make your way close to the clearing. You find the 16 members of the Children of Mercy that you had seen, or I guess you find 14 of them. And then with them, you find a large orcish man. You see Kubosh, and you also see a kind of slender figure, probably 5'7", 5'8", light blue skin, white hair that is about shoulder length, pulled back. You could tell even from a distance is fairly well kept hair, clean shaven, very, very nice clothes. Simple, but very, very, like, you could tell, like, as someone that comes from money, it's like, it's nice stuff. But you see an air genasi, this air, not quite an elemental, but someone whose origins are from more air elemental kind of creatures. But you see these 16 figures, just most of them are crouched. You see some of the Children of Mercy are currently sharpening blades. Kubosh and this air genasi seem to be talking about something. They're off further, they're on the opposite end of this clearing. And the biggest thing that you find are 6 catapults. What would you like to do?
I whisper, Belle, were the Children of Mercy ever into catapulting? Is this new to them?
Not this nice. These are well made.
Too well made for them. So I assume the nicely dressed guy is the kind of, like, the lazy guy we heard earlier. It was,
Maybe.
I assume the person who was ordering around Kubosh teleported out from the circle of soot earlier. But what are they gonna do with catapults?
Nothing good.
Yeah.
I think we need to let them know. I think they're getting ready for an attack.
Do I have like a good inkling of what the schedule of the conclave is after this point?
You know that at this point in time that the conclave should be starting.
Okay. Do you think they're gonna attack all of them during the conclave with these catapults?
I mean, if they're all in the same building, and if a building collapses, I
How are
guess
they gonna get a scarf if the building collapses? Or a person?
I don't know, but I mean, it doesn't look like they're getting ready for something.
Okay. Let's warn the others then.
So now, question for Val: which route would you take back? So now,
Okay, so we're in the north now, right?
in far north, direct route, fastest route is straight, but it puts you right in through this open. Because if you think about when you leave when you're like at
Mhm.
Bell's cabin to like get to the actual campus, it's not that long. Honestly, a lot of like the actual trek is through the woods itself, but it is like walking is probably about like a 15 or 20-minute walk and it's just open clearing. So geographically, a direct route is just straight south to get to campus, but then you are fully exposed, but it is the most direct route. Or you can backtrack to where you went through, but you know that you already spent an hour and some change making your way through the woods.
Good question. I am looking. Would Val be well versed in the animals that look just natural into this area?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Would, hold on, there be an animal that is about Val's size and stature and ish within like a foot or shorter or taller?
Disguise self does not work on different,
Damn.
like you could not do an animal to.
Mm,
Can they
Damn.
outrun you?
no, but can they outrun Val?
No, those a large guy, but he's fairly nimble.
Okay. Because I would like to be risky and take the shorter way back because time is of the essence.
Make a move.
Yeah. Let's take the shortest way back.
Okay, let's go. And you guys backtrack a little bit, and then once you feel like you're out range, you guys are able to kind of move at a more normal pace. I mean, even stealthing, you're still moving at a faster pace than most people. But once you're out of like you feel like you're out of earshot, you guys stand up and you guys start trucking along. You get to the edge of the clearing, open expanse, and you see campus at a distance, and you guys start taking your run as you guys are making your way back. You guys are about a little bit more than halfway when you hear incredibly loud, even at the distance that you are, you hear fire above you. Sort of, you feel the heat emanating down as you turn around and you see at the edge of the tree line itself, 6 catapults have positioned themselves, all slightly angled, just a little bit differently, but all towards campus, as these massive burning balls of flame are above you. Even at the distance they are, you just feel the heat go down. And one of them immediately crashes just short of the campus, but it lands and you can tell it rolls. Doesn't demolish or anything, but it rolls into a building, and you could tell there's part of like the wall that is slightly hit, even from the distance that you're at. You guys are continuing to run, and then from a distance you hear, and that's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
What?
Uh,
Do we hear the catapult crash?
You didn't with this first one.
Okay.
It seems like they because I that they miscalculated the distance by a little bit, so they literally landed just out of it, but it was enough that the actual momentum like hit some of the
hit a building.
hey,
Yeah.
they're not smart, but they
and we'll talk about it more, Mike. But if you're listening and you made it this, please give us 5 stars. I'm gonna ask for 5 stars. Please tell your friends.
we deserve it.
But we're just thankful for you guys. We're really excited, and just kind of forewarning, this next episode will be a little bit longer than some of our other episodes, but it'll also be the end of chapter 1 in our Tales
season finale.
End of chapter 1 for the Tales of Sollivant. But we'll take maybe like a 2-3 week break. We'll be dropping other things and releasing other stuff. But we'll take a little break from the main campaign to give me some time to cook up some stuff that I have planned for you guys.
Yes, chef.
But beyond that, just thankful for you guys, and cue the music.
Yeah. I can't wait to kill everybody. You're gonna kill